Number 1. I've had a similar experience with a guy I dated for just 2 weeks. So there was a senior from my high school, and I never knew him until I graduated. But we met on Insta and talked, and eventually became good friends. But I was dating someone, but he still proposed to me. And I, of course, rejected him, and slowly stopped talking to him as it would be unfair to my boyfriend. But after a year we broke up, and it's like he was keeping an eye on me or something. He slowly came back into my life, casually sending me friend requests on Snap and Insta, and then we started talking again, and we went on 2 dates, and he seemed perfect, paying attention to everything, and even bringing me a lotus, my favorite flower, which was really hard to find where I live, and he was great, but I really missed my ex. So I broke up with him within 2 weeks, as I wasn't ready to move on, and he went full psycho saying stuff like, all girls are the same, and how he knew my address, and he even knew my ex and was willing to beat him up so that I could move on from him. He even threatened to talk to my parents, and I blocked him from everywhere, but he still sometimes calls from an unknown number and tries to threaten me by saying I did him wrong, which is also why I have stopped picking up unknown calls altogether. What's more psychotic is he kept saying how he has waited for me for 1 year, and he wanted to marry me. Well, I didn't even know anything besides his name. He even said that last year he baked a cake on my birthday because he loved me. From the moment he saw my Insta story, I had tried filing a cybercrime against him. What else can I do? Number 2. Okay, so this happened when I was around 9 or 10. One day me and my mom went to the market. We were walking around and spending ridiculously a long time in different stores because you know how moms are. After looking around, we went to another store that was a little further from the other stores, but it was a bit bigger. Anyways, we went there and started looking around. So I want you to picture this. There's a mini supermarket, and then you cross the road in order to get to the big store. But you don't go to the opposite side the big store is on, the same side as the other stores, but just a little far from the other stores, if that makes sense. Oh, and you have to walk through this place, which looks kind of scary and abandoned. The stores are kind of all next to each other, and then you walk through the scary, abandoned-looking place, past the mini supermarket, cross the road, and there's the big store. So, and my mom did that. Anyways, we got to the store and we started looking around. Then this is where things started going downhill. I was goofing around alone, like any 9 to 10-year-old child would. Then I saw this guy. He looked off. I immediately started feeling uneasy. If a child feels like something is wrong, then something is actually wrong. Then I started going in and out of the store because I was bored, and every time I went out of the store, he was always staring at me. Then my mom told me that I should go call my uncle and tell him to come where we were. As soon as I stepped out of the store and started walking, the man immediately got up and started following me. Then I quickened my pace, only for me to look back and see him walking faster. Then I started walking even faster while looking behind me. My heart was pounding in my chest. I was so scared. Then he started getting closer. When I saw that, I booked it. I ran so fast. I ran until my lungs were burning. Then I got to the scary abandoned-looking place. Then ran past a few stores. I started looking for my uncle's car and I couldn't find it. I started panicking, thinking that my uncle left. Then I saw him. I got in the car as quickly as possible and told him that my mom told him to go where she was because she had a lot of shopping bags. And then we went home. I never told this to anyone, and I can't imagine what the man could have done if he caught up to me. So to the creepy man that was stalking me that day, let's never meet again. Number 3. I lived by myself after my sophomore year of college. In my 3rd year, I lived off campus in an apartment complex that was gated, and you needed a key to enter. Most of the residents were students. A few families lived there too. Brian was a kid who lived with his family there. I saw him around when I'd go do the laundry, and he liked talking to me. He was in 5th grade that year. He would talk to me, and we would chat while I did my laundry. He'd tell me about school, and it was nice. It kind of made me think back on when I was in 5th grade. He used to ask me what was going on for me. I usually said I was studying. One day, he asked me for my email address. He said he started writing stories and he wanted to send them to me. It felt harmless. It felt wholesome. I gave him my email address. He started sending me these little horror stories. They were abandoned houses, killer clowns, and stuff like that. While I was writing this, I just remember that this was around the time we had a clown problem, and there were reports of clown attacks. I respected that he had a hobby. I didn't always respond to his emails, but I always mentioned something to him when I'd see him. Then he invited me to his elementary school graduation. I was in the middle of finals. I also just didn't want to give up a whole Friday morning, so I sent him a Hallmark card congratulating him. I thought that would be sweet enough. The next time I saw him, he did not seem happy. He said something like how it would only be an hour, and he had seen me spending longer with my friends. I didn't really know what to say to that because he kind of had a point. I think this really crossed the line when he asked me to get dinner with him. He said, "Just me and you." I said, "I don't think so." But he kept pushing, saying things like, "I just want to get to know you better." Even crazier, he was doing this while his mom was there. His mom could hear all this. I thought she would intervene, but she did not. She giggled. When your 11-year-old son is pressuring a college student to go on a date with him after she's already said no, that is a great moment for a parent to step in and help enforce boundaries. I wasn't in that apartment for very long after this. I had one summer session that ended in August, and then I moved to a different place for the next year. I didn't want another invitation to anything. I gave that kid one-word answers. I avoided eye contact. I also blocked his email address. After I moved out, I didn't hear from Brian for a few months. Then, around October, I started getting anonymous letters sent to my new address. I opened the first envelope, and the note said, "It is so easy to follow you. Can you hear the footsteps behind you?" I felt nauseous. I'm uncomfortable even remembering that now. And then I got a second letter, and that said, "I know what you did. It is very funny how you think it is over." I had read enough of that kid's stories to recognize his writing when I'd seen it. This is the way the characters in his stories might speak. I knew instantly that he was the one sending me these letters. I felt ridiculous calling the police, but I did. Imagine calling the police and telling them that an 11-year-old might be sending you anonymous, threatening letters. And the police told me there was nothing they could do, because no laws had been broken. They could not trace the letter. They also said these letters were more common than some people realized, and that there was no concrete evidence to believe that they were from that kid. They also told me that sometimes these kinds of letters come from senders that the recipients had never met before. I guess the police were right. There's no way to prove it, but I know for a fact that kid sent me those letters. There was never a third letter. I never heard from him again. I think he moved on to something else. Maybe he found other people to spend his time thinking about. Hopefully people his own age. I wish the cops had taken it more seriously, but I understand why they didn't. It's hard to investigate a situation that doesn't have any evidence. Number 4. This happened about 2 years ago when I was at my boyfriend's apartment. He had about 3 roommates at the time, and we all had previously worked together, and we're friends, though I lived in the dorms at my college. At the time, my boyfriend and I were alone at the house. He had the day off, and I was visiting him on my free day from school. His roommate's dog started whining, clearly wanting to go outside to go to the bathroom. For reasons I forget, I offered to take the dog out for a small walk around the complex. The area my boyfriend's apartment was in, it wasn't the worst, but also wasn't the best. But I had felt safe enough to walk the dog around by myself, especially because it was broad daylight outside, and the fact that I was wearing a big blue sweatshirt, some shorts, hair undone, thrown up in a sad attempt at a bun, with my large glasses on. I usually never get any attention anyways, so I really didn't expect to be getting any with the lazy outfit I was fashioning. As I was walking the dog to a more grassy area, I walked past a dumpster where a guy was standing. I acknowledged him, but left him to his business. As I pass him, he says, "Oh, I like your dog. What breed is he?" And comes up to pet the dog. If you've ever had a pet before, this isn't a suspicious interaction, and is very common. I put a friendly smile on my face and said, "Oh, I think it's a Chihuahua mix. It's my friend's dog." After he stopped petting the dog, I go to continue my walk, only he's following me. This has never happened to me before, so I understand if you think my next actions are really stupid. He walks faster to come up next to me, and he tries to continue the conversation about dogs. I'm trying to be polite, but I'm starting to get nervous. My stomach drops when he asks where I live. I try to stay calm and act like it didn't bother me. I say, "Oh, I don't live here. I'm visiting my boyfriend." At this moment, I turn to my boyfriend's apartment, both to insulate how close he is and measuring how far I've walked so far. He says, "Oh, I'm here helping my uncle move in. I bet your boyfriend wouldn't like me talking to you." I try a nervous laugh, but I'm realizing I need to get the hell out of this situation. But I don't want to just freak out and run. I don't know this guy. I don't know if he has anything on him that can hurt me. I realize that I thankfully have my phone on me. I started walking to the patch of grass for the dog to run into. Before I can get there, the guy tells me to stay for a second. We're in an area of the complex that is next to some stairs. The grass is literally right in front of me, but I freeze like an idiot. Again, I've never been in this situation, and apparently I had the survival skills of a peanut. He sits on the stairs and says, "Now your boyfriend can't see us," and plays it off as a joke. He starts talking, but I can't really focus on what he's saying, as I'm trying to find a way to leave the situation without me getting hurt. I'm scared if I try to run or pick up my phone, he'll try to restrain me or hurt me in some way. I figure I need to try and be calm and nonchalant. I say, "Hey, I need to go. The dog really has to go to the bathroom and I need to get back to my boyfriend." He doesn't seem to fight back against my request. Until he stands up, he says, "Well, can I have a hug goodbye?" Before I can respond, he's wrapping his arms around me, pushing me up against the cement wall behind me. He's forcibly putting his crotch against me, and like the idiot I am, I tense and freeze. I'm so terrified, and I realized how bad the situation I am truly is. If I didn't try and get away now, something terrible is going to happen to me. I try to sound more stern, but it comes out in a pathetic, I really need to see my boyfriend." Thankfully, by the grace of God, he lets go and backs away. All he says is, "I'm sorry," and waves goodbye before he begins to walk off. I walk into the grassy area I intended to go, shaking. At this point, I can see the area of the complex where my boyfriend is, but not directly the apartment. I get my phone out, call my boyfriend, and begin heading back to the house, looking around and behind me with every step. I tell my boyfriend to get out here now, that something happened, and I was scared. He asked me what happened, but I was afraid of that guy. Again, I was worried that he had some type of weapon on him. If I told my boyfriend, he would immediately come out and try to beat that guy's ass, and I was terrified my boyfriend would get hurt. The guy was around my height, 5'6", and my boyfriend stands at a good 6'2", and is built, so he could have beaten that guy's ass, but again, that guy seemed fucking crazy. I didn't want to risk the guy having some type of weapon he could pull out. My boyfriend runs outside of me, and he walks up to me and letting the dog do its business, and we head inside. The whole time I'm looking around like a maniac, terrified that that guy would pop up out of nowhere. We got back inside the house, and I finally tell my boyfriend the situation. Just like I predicted, he gets up and goes out and beats that guy's ass. I beg him not to because I was terrified of him getting hurt, and he finally settles down and comforts me. After that, I saw the guy one more time weeks later. My boyfriend and I were heading to the car to run an errand when a truck drives past. There, in the passenger seat, the guy is looking out the window. The guy's looking out the window, staring at me. He smiles and waves before the truck pulls off. It really gave me the creeps. I felt sick. I never saw him again, but I still look over my shoulder anywhere I go. Even if you think it's safe to walk around, there are weirdos out there. It doesn't matter what you wear or the time of day, they may still come after you. I never walked around the complex alone after that. I made terrible decisions in the situation that could have gotten me really hurt because I was young and naive. Despite this, it's been a couple years and I've learned from this experience. I won't put myself in that same position again. And to the guy who followed me, terrified me, and was an overall creep, let's not meet again.